It's legit, you know it's a hit when the Neptunes and the doggy dog finna spit. You know he's in tune with the season. Come here, baby, tell me why you leaving.
Guys, today I got a new prediction video for you guys. It's Barcelona FIFA 14 predictions. So let's start off in goal. In goal we have Victor Valdez. He has had a pretty consistent season. He's played 31 games, but I don't. He makes some stupid mistakes sometimes, and I don't really think he deserves an 85 rating. Probably an 84 rating, and maybe even lower. Or if they're generous, they might keep his rating, but I don't really think he deserves it. Next, we're gonna have Jordi Alba. I decided to boost his stats up by 3. He played 27, scored 2, and assisted 5. I definitely think he deserves that 84 rating. Because he's had a really great season. He's really young. He's got a great future ahead of him. Definitely think he deserves that. What I did notice though is that left backs and right backs, their overall rating is lower compared to other players on the pitch, like strikers or centre mids. So I think him and Dani Alves could be an 85 overall. I'm not sure though, but I would like to see that. Next we're gonna have PK. I decided to keep his card exactly the same, apart from his pace, which I decided to boost up by 6. Because I don't really think his 62 pace is reflected in how he plays in real life. He's played 27 and scored 2 and assisted 0, so that's pretty decent. I think he's had a pretty solid season. He was in the team of the year and the team of the season, so I definitely think he deserves to keep that rating. Next we're going to have Puyol, who has had tons of injuries this season, but I still think he's a really good defender, even though he has had injuries. I think they'll boost him, or they'll put him down by 1, but he played 12, scored 1, and assisted 0. I still think he's a great defender, but I don't really think he deserves an 86 rating, because he hasn't really played that much this season. Next at right back, we can have Dani Alves. I decided to keep his card exactly the same, because he's been pretty solid throughout. He's played 26, scored 0, and assisted 6. Which is alright, apart from he hasn't scored any, but to be honest, you don't really need to score as a right back, so I definitely think he'll keep his card. He might even go up to an 85, or if they're not feeling too generous, they might put him down to an 83, but I think he should keep his 84 rating. Next we're going to have Iniesta. I don't know why EA put him as a left wing on FIFA 13. I think he plays naturally as a centre mid, so I just kept his card exactly the same, but I put him as a centre mid. I think he still deserves his 90 overall rating, so I kept it like that. He's played 24, scored 3, and assisted 16, which is pretty decent. Next we're going to have Sergio Busquets. I decided to boost him up by 1, because he's been pretty solid throughout the season. He was in the team of the season. He's played 25, scored 1, and assisted 2, which is pretty decent for centre defensive mid. And I boosted his stats up quite a bit, because I don't really think his stats were reflected on his rating. I don't really think because for an 86 rated card you shouldn't really have that bad stats, so I did boost his stats up quite a bit. Next we're going to have Xavi. He plays on the right as a centre mid. I kept his card exactly the same. I think he's been solid throughout the season. He's played 24, scored 5 and assisted 8, which isn't as good as Iniesta. He scored more though, and I definitely think he deserves to keep that card. Next we're going to have Neymar. As most of you will know, he has moved to Barcelona recently, and for Santos he played 17, this is just in the league, he played 17, scored 14 and assisted 7, which is really decent, and I definitely think he deserves an upgrade, mainly because moving to Barca's quite a big club obviously, and I think just because of all the hype around it, I think they'll upgrade him by 1. Next we're going to have Messi. I decided to keep his card exactly the same. He plays 4-3-3, but a centre forward, so slightly behind the wingers. But I just kept his card exactly the same. They might change his stats slightly, but I think they'll keep, because every card in FIFA is worked around his rating basically. So I don't really think they'll change his rating at all. I think he's played 28, scored 46, and assisted 12, which is absolutely insane. Next we have Sanchez. I decided to boost him up by 1. He hasn't played as much as Pedro, but he's played 18, scored 8 and assisted 9, which is much better than Pedro, and I definitely think he deserves an upgrade, so he's the same rating as Neymar. Next we're going to have Fabregas. Now he's actually played the most out of anyone in Barca. I think he might play instead of Sergio Busquets, I'm not exactly sure though, but it doesn't really matter. He has played 30, scored 11 and assisted 11. I think I kept his card exactly the same. I think they could boost his pace up a bit, because I think he's a bit faster than 69 pace though, but they might just keep it exactly the same. Next we're going to have Mascherano. He has played at 21, scored 0 and assisted 0. He hasn't had a too good season, to be honest. He hasn't been as consistent as PK. He messes up quite a lot, and I don't really think he deserves an 86 rating. I think they'll put him down to an 84. But yeah, he doesn't look that good a card anymore because he's got 70 heading, which isn't too good for a centre back. Next we're gonna have David Villa. He's played 17, scored 10 and assisted 5, and I think because of the arrival of Neymar, I think he'll move to another club. I kept his card exactly the same apart from his pace, boosted it up to 81 from 79, because I don't really think he deserves 79 pace. I think 81 reflects more on how he plays in real life. Next we're going to have Pedro, who I decided to boost up 1. He's an 85 now on the right, because he wouldn't play on the left instead of Neymar. He'll probably swap around with Sanchez. Sanchez will probably play more because he played better in the season. But Pedro has played 23, scored 7 and assisted 6. So he's played more than Sanchez but got less goals and assists. So that's why I decided to put Sanchez up 1 from him. And yeah, he still looks like a pretty decent card. He had a pretty solid season. Nothing, I can't really complain about how he's performed. Next we're going to have Song. He's played 17, scored 1 and assisted 0, which isn't too bad for centre defensive mid. I decided to boost him, put him down by 1, and make him non-shiny, because I don't really think he deserves a shiny card. He hasn't really been that consistent throughout the season, so I think 82 rating. He still deserves an 82 rating, but he shouldn't be shiny. Next we're going to have Thiago. He's quite young, and I think I kept his card exactly the same as his man of the match card in FIFA 13, but I boosted his pace up a bit because I think he deserves 80 pace or even more because he's quite a fast player. Next we're going to have Cristiano Teo. He has played 12, scored 7, assisted 4, which is pretty decent, and he's really young. I boosted his stats up, overall up by 1. I think he already had an upgrade, but I boosted it up by 1 because I think he deserves that, and I gave him 91 pace instead of 90 pace and stuff. And yeah, I think he played pretty decent. Scoring 7 goals and 12 is pretty decent, so I don't really think he deserves a 79 overall. And he'll probably go out throughout the FIFAs because he's still really young. Same with Adriano, he's still really young. He has played 18, scored 5 and assisted 1, which for a right back, or he plays on the left sometimes. But yeah, it's really good for a left or right back. And he looks like a pretty decent card. If people can't afford Dani Alves, they'll probably buy him instead if he's a shiny, and I put him 79 overall. Next we're going to have Abidal, who has had quite a lot of injuries and problems with his heart and stuff, and I respect him for that, and he's only played 2 and he scored 0 and assisted 0, but I didn't really put his rating down or up because I still think he's a class player when he does play. Next we're going to have Pinto. He played 7 because of Valdez, but when he does play he's pretty decent, so I put him up to a 74. I think he was a 72 before, but I think he deserves that, and he looks like a pretty decent silver card. Next we're going to have Marcel Bartra. He has played 3, scored 0 and assisted 0. He played in the game against Bayern Munich, and he didn't play too well, to be honest, but that's because Bayern are, arguably the best team at the moment, and I think he's got a bright future ahead of him, so that's why I put all of these silvers up to 74. I think he's got a great future ahead of him, and I definitely think he's because he's really young, he should go up to a 74 rated shiny instead of 72. And he looks like he's going to be quite expensive because of his 72 pace. Excuse me. But although he's not that tall. But next we're going to have Montoya, the final person on this team. He has played 11, scored 1 and assisted 2, which is really decent. And I think he could even go up to a gold. He might deserve that. But thanks for watching, guys. Also, I've got Lewandowski, who apparently might move to Barca. He'll probably be an 88 overall. And various other people that could move. I'm not going to say them all, but yeah, Lewandowski is one of them. So thanks for watching, guys. Please put in the comments below who you want me to do next, and I'll see you next time.